What's up?
We don't have the intro? No intro.
No intro.
Oh, okay.
Well, go. You're live.
Come on
Let's
now.
go.
Come on.
We're clapping? There we go.
Yo, 124 to 116, the final score. We beat the best team in the NBA after beating a pretty good team in the Toronto Raptors. This team is legitimately on fire, largely in credit to Goran going crazy, Jimmy going crazy, Bam looking like an all-star, Duncan hitting open shots, Iguodala from wherever it is that he was hitting, Kelly Olynyk. Yeah, we were eating today. It was a good game. Alex, you're the one that is in the arena right now. I don't know if you're too busy, but what are your thoughts from the game? What's the energy in there right now?
Well, the energy is everybody's gone already, but there was a lot of energy when people were here. I wish you would have waited like 2 minutes just to go to me because they're about to turn off the music and all that stuff in like a minute or two. But, I mean, I'm glad that I was at this game. It was an awesome game. And it actually looked like the team, I mean, between this game and the last game, it really resembled the team that they were last year, which we really haven't seen a lot of this year.
Yeah, I'm so happy about this game. Simba, what are your thoughts? You were pretty optimistic on Twitter before the game. Give me that smile. Give me that smile. Come on. It's a good day for Heat Nation right now. This is a happy win. What are your thoughts from this game?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game, right? Like they finally look like last year. I mean, I'm not going to jump to conclusions and say they are back to what they were last year, but it looked like a team that finally had it together for the first time in a while. We were hitting on all cylinders. Everybody, I think for the most part, everybody had a good game. I'll give it to Kelly also, right? Because he hit some important threes. But we kind of needed it. But yeah, man, I think it was a great game to watch. It was fun, right? Like this was the old last year Heat, like a fun game to watch.
For sure. It was good basketball through and through. Like I said before, or I said on the last post game, all I want to see is this team compete. And they competed and then some. It looked like the Jazz. I mean, I know Jordan Clarkson played poorly, but they were hitting some crazy shots. Getting, I don't want to put anything on the refs because, I don't want to do that. But there was also some weird calls like Bam mossing Georges Niang, and then they call that foul. That was ridiculous to me. But we ended up winning. They overcame whatever it is they needed to. They
never blew the lead
from the best team in the NBA. Brian, positive vibes only. Send me some positive vibes right now.
Positive vibes. Let's see. I think, you know what, Simba? I'm actually going to say the team is back from last year's final squad. Listen, I think this is the Heat team we can expect going forward. They're looking fantastic. They're on a roll. That fire's just going to keep blazing, and we're good, bro. We're good going forward. I don't care. Listen, this team could lose 10 in a row. I'm still going to be like, you know what? I believe. I'm a believer.
Wow. Who is this guy? I don't recognize him.
This man,
Brian I followed for years, has never been this positive about the Heat.
I've been realistic. Listen, I'm being realistic now. This team is fantastic. This is not just a hot take. Internet. I'm stoked.
It's because he's part of the positive crew now.
Yeah, for real. Welcome to the
way to succumb to peer pressure. You should be the heel of the show.
We need Greg right now. Hope trafficking, but I think that'll probably be on the pod if you guys are doing a
post game today. For sure.
That's usually where Royal comes in.
Group chat.
Yeah, that's usually where Royal comes in. I'm sure he'll jump right back in as soon as we lose a game.
Nah, he definitely will. Ariel, you're all smiles as well. I don't think we've given enough credit to Goran fucking Dragic. So if anyone wants to give him credit, Ariel, I will send it to you. Your thoughts on the Dragon?
He's looked spectacular. I had commented on the last post game on how it looked to me like he had maybe lost a step and looked a little rusty. I did mention that there was a very good chance that that was probably just due to the layoff, and he probably proved that theory right tonight. He looked amazing. The burst was there a little bit, but you saw like the trickiness and the shots that we are used to seeing from Goran. He got to a lot of his moves fearless, just going at Gobert and getting into the paint, making threes. Like Goran looked great. I loved, that was probably the Heat's best game of the season from a competitive standpoint and just an overall level of play standpoint from both teams. Like that was a really high level game. I thought that Spo coached a phenomenal game as well. Mixed in a lot of different looks. I think he's had a really good run over the last few games. switching his defensive schemes, going from the drop to man to the zone and different iterations of the zone. Like, that was a really, really good game. And I love that we've been able to say over the last 3 or so games that was their best win of the season. And every single game now, we went from where we were saying this is the worst game, the worst loss of the season, like every night. And now it's the exact inverse. So
this is the best win of the season. Adam, I don't know if you're coming live from Hard Rock, from Cheesecake
I thought he was on a
Factory,
cruise. He looks like
he's
he's
on a hotel. Where are you coming from, Adam?
Cheesecake Factory.
Are you actually at Cheesecake Factory?
I'm just here to say it was the win of the year, game of the year in my mind. And I had to watch it from the Cheesecake Factory. So, good win. I might change my stance on the Heat. We'll see. I want to see how this team goes into the All-Star break, but that's all I'll say.
3 games left. I think we have the Hawks, and then the Pelicans to end it off. No Herro tonight, too. I don't know if, what are your guys' thoughts on that? But, winning this game the way we did, because it's not like the Jazz played poorly. We beat the Raptors and the Jazz playing good basketball. That's the biggest takeaway here. It's not like they were shooting ridiculously poor from 3. They got hot in the second half. The Jazz hit, I think, 6 of their 7 threes in 6 minutes in the third quarter, and we withstood that freaking run. What more can you ask for? This is easily the best win of the season. I'm ridiculously happy right now. So I want to break it down player by player. I do want to talk about Jimmy Butler. Simba, give me your thoughts on Jimmy. I don't know exactly what his final stat line was. 33, 10, and 8. That's LeBron finals MVPs numbers. That's Jimmy Butler finals numbers right there. What are your thoughts on Jimmy tonight?
I think he played a perfect game, right? In the beginning, he got his, but he also got Bam involved super early because Bam, honestly, we tell him to be aggressive. He's not looking for – but it looked like Butler gave it to the perfect moment to Bam. Bam took it, got it, and because of that, we had Bam for the rest of the game. It gave him a good rhythm into the rest of the game. Butler was also getting other people involved, But the best thing about Butler tonight is that he took his game from the beginning. There was not one point in this game that you were like, "Where's Butler?" or "What's he doing?" or "Okay, he's gonna come back later." He's just reading game. No, it was Butler from beginning to the end. This was his game. There's no you're gonna watch the replay of this game on YouTube, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, Butler, okay, Butler, okay, Butler, okay, Butler, okay, Butler." That's all this whole game is, right?
He was everywhere. He was literally everywhere. Offense, defense, fucking special teams too. This man was all over the floor. I was so happy with the way Jimmy played. This was much, much needed because we've had these good wins, but we needed this marquee statement. Heat Nation is back win. And that is exactly what we did. So give Jimmy his credit. That man is an all-star. Absolutely. If he gets the nod, he gets the nod based on other players' injuries. I don't care. I don't need him to get that credit. We already know what kind of player we have as Heat Nation. As Heat fans, we know who Jimmy is. So super, super happy with that. Brian, I want to talk about this third quarter, and we can open this up for debate too. They had 41 points in the third quarter, and we still had the lead after that quarter. What are your thoughts on us being able to go blow for blow with literally the best team in the league?
Honestly, that's the thing about this team, right? Is all season it's felt like the offense has been off, right? And we've known that in theory, this team has the capability to be an explosive offensive force. And, when their guys are on, they can keep up with any team in the league, right? And it just kind of felt like that it kind of felt that way this game where, when their offense is flowing, it's all good. The Jazz can score 40 and you feel comfortable that this team can keep pace. And I think that's what we saw tonight. And like I said, I think it's what we need to see going forward. It feels like, the fact that their offense isn't just let's screen for guys to get open for 3. They're attacking the rim. They're cutting the basket. They're doing a lot of different things, and it's working. It's fantastic to watch.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful basketball. I don't know how many assists we finished with today. 24. So actually much less than we had. We had 2 back-to-back games with over 30 assists. But a lot of those plays that weren't assists was Goran getting his own, Bam getting his own, Jimmy getting his own. Just players doing what you need them to do. Your star players looking like star players. So that was really cool. HM with the donation. Thank you very much for the donation. Jimmy in February, 21.4 points, 8.8 assists, 8.8 rebounds. Salute to Jimmy. That went away. I got to find that. Read the rest of that. Okay, salute to Jimmy. If the Heat turn around this record, he will have a shot at all NBA, in my opinion. Ariel, if Jimmy
all NBA, but not an all-star.
Like this, can Jimmy get like second team all NBA? Do you think that's feasible right now?
I think it should be, but like I don't really know with the voters and where they kind of view Jimmy. I feel like there's a little bit of a preference to certain wing players in the league, guys like, Giannis and Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, all the guys at his position that, I feel like voters tend to favor a little bit. If the question is, will he make it? I don't know, but I think he should. I mean, he's been unbelievable since he's been back. You saw the numbers there, 21, 9, and 9 over the past, bunch of games since he's been back. Spectacular numbers. And just to go back to, the last topic when we were talking about the Heat's offense, I think the biggest thing that's helped the Heat offense is Goran and Jimmy being back. But specifically in the last 2 games, since Goran's been back, they've scored 116 and then tonight 124 points. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They've been going crazy. Alex, give me your thoughts on Bam today. Like,
I honestly
gonna play.
Yeah. I was worried that he wouldn't play. I don't think this team had any chance of beating the Jazz without Bam, like being able to contain Donovan and Rudy Gobert and all their shooters. I think it just would have been impossible without Bam. But I think all their best players played really well. Like, I really love what we saw from Jimmy. I love what we saw from Bam. I love what we saw from Goran. I think they all look like, the type of players they were in the bubble last year. They were all playing like all-stars at the same time. I mean, it's incredible that Goran looks this good off the bat and this confident, just making all the right reads, shooting when they drop back, driving in when he sees an opening. It was great to see. And Bam, like, he loves that little push shot, that little floater, because knowing that Gobert is just going to cover the hell out of the paint. And he just has great touch on it. You could tell that he feels good about it, and he just kept taking it over and over again. And I thought he played pretty aggressive offensively. I think I would like to see him play more like that more often. I think he's been trending in that way of hitting the paint more and taking mid-range jumpers less, even though I'm okay with them.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with Bam's mid-range. I really liked how every time he caught the ball on the elbow, it wasn't that he was turning and waiting for a handoff. He was turning and facing up, making Gobert play defense on him. And I think that made all the difference with creating lanes for other people and whatnot. It was really, really good to see that from Bam. And like, he was getting all the rebounds. He only had 11. It felt like he had 20 rebounds tonight. Every single time we needed a rebound, it was either Jimmy or Bam coming down with it. Fantastic game from him. I want to talk about the other players on this team, the role players. So the players that played well, I guess, Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Andre Iguodala, and I want to shout out Gabe Vincent too. I thought he actually had some pretty productive minutes defensively when he was in. Brian, your thoughts on any one of those guys? Pick your poison.
Okay, so let's just say Duncan Robinson, right? Just looking at the numbers now, 15-6, and he went 4 of 7 from 3, which I think is what we expect from Duncan, right? That's the kind of shooting that we know that he's capable of, and when he does that, he unlocks this offense. And I want to shout out my guy KZ Okpala. He didn't play much, but he had some good minutes, and I was happy about that, man. Good minutes by his standards.
Low bar. He should have had like 3 dunks, which is my thing.
He had an assist. He passed out from a dunk, but got an assist. I'll take that. Listen, I'm just saying,
he doesn't want to take any shot. He's uncomfortable with like every shot right now.
No, okay, he has a ways to go, but he did some impactful things that I liked. I saw some progression from my guy, and I'm happy about that.
Good defense. He's a good defender. I think he's a decent positional defender.
He's more of a 3 than a 4 right now, I think. Not strong enough.
It was weird. They put him in against Derek Favors defensively. I don't know if that was like disrespectful to Favors a little bit because he's kind of a bucket once he gets the ball in the paint. But, I mean, I don't think Favors did anything noteworthy. So, yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to shout out KZ, Ariel, you want to talk about Iguodala?
Sure. I mean, the Martians have the death beam pointed at the earth. Who do we want, guys?
For the last 2 games, it's been the Martians with the death beam. It's crazy.
Absolutely, man. It's like when we don't really,
Iguodala.
when we don't really need it, you can, almost write him in to miss like 70% of his threes. But when we really need it in big spots, I'm looking back at, game 6 against Boston last postseason. I'm looking at tonight, probably a couple of other signature wins that they had this season that I can't remember off the top of my head because I'm a little too hyped right now. He just comes up big in those spots, man. And another like one of the things that we've seen Iggy for, I don't know what, probably 60 games, 50 games now, something in there. Something that never ceases to surprise me is how good his hands are. Like his hands on defense, defensively, his anticipation is elite. Right? Like how many times does he swipe down at the ball aggressively and not get a foul and get the ball clean and it results in a turnover? Like, man, he's just such a solid guy to have at the back end of your rotation. I feel like they're probably relying on him a little bit more than you want to right now. And so, you should probably be looking, if you're the Heat, to upgrade at the 4 or at the big wing position around the trade deadline. But man, I'm glad that guy's on our side, and I can understand why they want to keep him, why they really don't necessarily want to put him in a lot of these packages, because he's more than just salary filler, right? He matters to this team.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You look at the teams that you're going to have to play in the playoffs, Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Boston. Like those teams, maybe not so much Philly. I mean, I guess it's really just Tobias Harris, unless they get like a Kyle Lowry. But you're going to
worry about him.
You're going to need a wing defender that can spell Jimmy a little bit, because you don't want Jimmy matching up the entire game. And Iggy, he can come in, and for 20 minutes, it's clamps.
Yeah.
He's still a really, really good defender. And like you mentioned, Ariel, with the hands, and then every time it's a high leverage shot, for some reason, he's an absolute bucket. But then when you're playing against Los Angeles Clippers, he goes 0 of 5. It makes no sense. But honestly, I'm fine with it. We beat the Utah Jazz. Good win. Someone mentioned, I don't remember exactly who it was, so I can't really shout them out, but someone mentioned that it looks like we're taking less threes over the last few games.
They did tonight. Absolutely. Yeah. They made a concerted effort to get into the paint more, and they did that in the last game as well, actually. So it's really the last 2 games. I don't know what the paint point numbers are, but you could see like they made a concerted effort to attack the rim, and what that does is it opens up a lot of things on the perimeter for the team. So that's a very good observation by whoever made that.
Yeah, less relying on the 3. I think it's just much better for our entire team as a whole, because you have guys like Jimmy Bam and Goran that can now put pressure on the rim and get downhill and really just open up the entire offense for these guys. You don't want to rely on the shooters. You want them to be complementary guys. I feel like we had that flipped at the beginning of the season, relying too much on the shooters and not enough on good ball movement and getting the ball in the paint. Donation from anyone want to try to read that? Alchemist Star. Thank you, Ariel. I feel like my guy, 7 in the rafters from last game. I'm just happy. LOL. Go Heat. Yeah, I'm just happy today. Listen, we beat the Jazz. We beat the Raptors. What is it? 4 straight?
5 straight now, I think, right?
5 straight? What seed are we? Are we the 6th seed? 5th seed?
The 5th
So
seed.
it kind of depends. It depends on other outcomes tonight. I tweeted out today that like the best possible outcome from tonight's games would be that the Heat could end up as high as 5th in the standings. Again, obviously, all of those teams are separated by like a half game to a game, so that can flip. But Charlotte's playing the Warriors now. What's that?
They're at 5th right now.
There you go.
Wow.
Also,
nice.
I was looking up what you were talking about, shooting less threes, and they're at about 36, 37 3-pointers a game for the season, and shot 30 tonight. So yeah, it definitely took a few less.
A little bit less.
Really good at preventing threes. Like they want you to take all the stuff between the arc and the line. I mean, the rim.
We were hitting the mid-range. Like at the beginning of the third quarter, when they were just hitting shot after shot after shot after shot, you saw Jimmy, Bam, Goran. They all came down and they were hitting their mid-range. And if we have that, I know Nikias and on the 5 on the Floor pod, they mentioned that we need a 3-level scorer. Goran looked like that today, right?
Yeah, Goran almost single-handedly outscored the Utah bench tonight. They scored 32. Him alone was 26.
That's our guy.
Good,
yeah,
so good.
Wow,
That's insane, man.
I take back what I said on the last pod. I'm not trading him for a first-round pick. I let Clutch brainwash me. I'm out.
Yeah.
And a note, because Utah Jazz, they were saying it actually during the Heat game. Snyder, the way he kind of plays his people is he takes out Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert for early so that they can go against the bench.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the bench, the opposing team's bench. So
Clarkson
it's not like
takes every
Goran
shot.
Dragic is only shooting against a bunch of bench guys or whatever, you know. So
No,
pretty
he made
good
a
for
few
him.
floaters over Gobert. I mean, yeah.
Goran was on another level tonight. Like nothing makes me happier than seeing Goran just go absolutely berserk. Because I mean, I know Alex, you said there's really not that much energy there because there's not that many fans. But like in my head, American Airlines was going absolutely.
Oh, they were. I'm not gonna lie. Like relative to the amount of people in here, it was really energetic. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's the most energetic game I've been to this season for sure. I mean, it's not a high bar per se, but it was a good energy in here. I'm not gonna lie.
Alex Baher, $10 dono. This team isn't afraid of anyone. You already know that.
Been.
Jimmy Butler,
Only the bad teams.
Goran Dragic as kind of the calming veteran presence on this team. Then you got Bam, who just signed with Jordan. Shout out to Bam for signing with Jordan today. That's dope as hell. I'm going to buy whatever they produce for Bam. He's my favorite player in the NBA. This team isn't afraid of anyone.
They better call them the Bam 1 of 1, no ceilings. Shout out to Greg Sylvander.
Yeah, Leif needs to get a cut of those. That they call it the no ceiling ones.
Yeah.
You think he gets his own shoe? I don't know.
He'll get a PE at best, maybe. That's what someone said in the.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he probably needs a few more All-Stars nowadays for that.
That's why we're mad he didn't get the All-Star nod this year, man.
Nah,
should have been
All-Star.
I mean, it's relevant.
I don't care about that.
The bonus today, so that's actually a relevant topic.
Yeah,
the bonus deserved over Bam. I think I'm not mad at it, but
yeah,
I know I'd rather have on my team.
Exactly.
I'd rather have Sabonis and Bam over Randall. That's for damn sure. And Vucevic.
Like we know who the better player is. Are any of you guys like relatively butthurt about Bam not making the All-Star team and Sabonis and other guys getting it, or is it kind of just whatever to you guys?
I feel like everyone is pretty deserving. I don't know. I know that people are hating on Randall specifically. He's having a really good year. I can't really complain about that. But I mean, selfishly, I want him to get it for his career. But it's whatever. As long as they win games, I'm cool.
Yeah, I think for a young player, that kind of stuff matters. I'm not at all upset about Jimmy not getting the nod. I kind of get it, and I get the narrative and the lens through which these things are viewed and how votes are casted for All-Star, right? Like it's usually based on players counting stats, and team wins are factored into that as well. I hate the team record argument because in this case, all of those teams are separated by like a game. Yeah. So people who say that the Heat are the 10th seed and the Pacers or whoever it is on, let's say when Boston was the 6th seed, they're 6, they're 4. It's like, dude, they're separated by a game. That literally could flip entirely in half a week. So I don't really give a ton of weight to that argument. My thing is, though, like the argument for Bam is that while Sabonis and guys like Vooch have better raw stats, if you look at the advanced stats, especially in comparison to Sabonis, every single advanced statistic favors Bam. Every single one says he's a better basketball player than Domantas Sabonis.
I just watch the games too. Bam is superior.
Yeah, superior. I mean, he impacts the other side of the ball so much more than Sabonis does. And so if you're going to make an argument for Bam, that's the argument. I don't hate Sabonis getting in. I had him in originally, but I would probably have left off Vooch because, like I said, you can't use the team record argument against the Heat guys and then give a team that's like 13th in the East with like 13 wins and All-Star. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it really is. I think the logic behind a lot of that was just stupid. We did get another dono. Milos, I am convinced we lose this game if Kelly didn't foul out. Let's talk about Kelly because, I love to be positive, but we've been getting some really bad Kelly Olynyk games. Brian, I think your internet's kind of messed up right now. So, Simba, I'll go to you. Your thoughts on Kelly tonight?
Man, I don't know, man. There's sometimes Kelly just like you have this what the hell moment, right? Like that transition three where they're doing a fast break and then Kelly takes the unadvised 3-pointer, like horrible shot.
Canadian Curry, bro. Close. That's who he is.
I was like, fuck, man, like why the fuck? And then like also what his game is if he's gonna foul on one end, he's gonna go right back on the other end and foul on that end. So I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of happy he fouled out because I was like, all right, like
Yeah,
He
in the
shouldn't be
moment.
closing. Period. Like, it's
No,
not
exactly.
No.
Yeah, he's a good
And
starter, not a closer.
it just confuses me why he has to foul out in order for Spo to take him out. Like he should be taken out already. It shouldn't be like whatever. But I will say, Kelly had 2 very important threes when we needed it, and so those are his highlights for tonight. And that's it.
Yeah, I mistakenly, or not mistakenly, in the heat of the moment, I'll say I was very rash in tweeting this. I said Kelly Olynyk fouling out. Hopefully, it's his last game at American Airlines Arena or last game in Pink Jersey.
Jeez.
Wow.
I was hot. We were up by like 8, and then Kelly cuts it to a 1-point game, and the Jazz are not the type of team to fuck with. Like, I was really mad in the moment.
Andre was playing better.
Yeah,
What's so
He
crazy?
was, yeah.
What's so crazy is the Heat won by 8 and Kelly was -8. Like the guy I used to defend Kelly. Like I was a Kelly guy. I'm Canadian. I feel like I should root for. At least I live in
I didn't
Canada.
know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I live in Canada, so I feel like I should root for him. I was at the Heat Raptors game last year when the Heat were in Toronto and Jimmy took over in overtime, and I was antagonizing everybody in my section about Kelly because I think he played pretty well if I remember right. But man, he just makes it hard to root for him sometimes because I have a hard time understanding how a player who is, pretty veteran savvy, right? Like he knows a lot of the tricks and he does a lot of the things that, it takes time for players in the league to learn how to do. The Kelly keeper, sliding in at the right moment to draw a charge, all of these little things under the basket.
Not a terrible team defender.
No, he's not a terrible team defender, but I find that his overall IQ and his overall awareness, he just makes so many mental mistakes on the court. And when you're shooting 2 of 28 coming into tonight, it's just hard, man. The problem is that this team doesn't have any other options at the 4 other than maybe Precious, but Spo won't play them together. Tonight he had KZ in ahead of Precious, right? So even when Kelly fouled out, even if Spo wanted to go to Precious for a couple of stops late, I don't think he would do that. And we saw that he didn't because Precious didn't play 1 second all game. And it would be kind of tough putting him in a high leverage situation like that after he hadn't played at all. So
I 100% agree on Kelly. I think you can make him the backup 4 or 5, whatever the hell Spo wants to play him as. You need to get a 4 that maybe he won't start, but you need to get a closing caliber 4 that can defend pretty much 3 and 4s because in the playoffs, let's say you run into a Brooklyn, you cannot put Kelly Olynyk with confidence in any lineup at the end of the game.
And we saw that last year. Spo didn't play him more than like 13, 12 minutes a game during the bubble.
He's going to be played off the floor, and he's not the type of shooter that Duncan is to really stimmy that. Like, he can't stop teams from targeting him because he's bringing so much offense. Like, Kelly, he's just got to be – his role has to be lessened a lot, in my opinion. And, yeah.
I think he's better off the bench, man. I remember when they were bringing him off the bench with Goran, Herro, and then even this year with Precious. Like, I think you could play next to Precious. I think he could play next to Andre. And then especially with Goran and Herro both coming off the bench when they're healthy, I think that'll be pretty potent. Like, I remember – last year, they were using him in the handoff sets, and there hasn't been a lot of that, obviously, because now he's in the starting lineup, and we know what the person next to Bam does when they're in the starting lineup on offense, and it's just spot up and shoot. And I think Kelly, that's not his game. Like, I think he can shoot, obviously, but I don't think of him as a guy who wants to spot up. And I get why Spo does it. Like, you have to have proper spacing, and Kelly needs to be shooting when he's out there. And his shot is so up and down, and that's pretty much how I feel about Kelly. Like, when his shot is going, I think he's good. When his shot is off, I think he needs to play less. But like when he was off the bench, he was doing more stuff with the ball in his hands and kind of creating for others, making it easier for Goran and Herro to attack, coming off of little screens and handoffs. I miss when they were doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Kelly was much more fun, I think, when he's playing with the bench lineup.
I like that they had him out there, by the way, at the 5 when they didn't play Precious. I changed my mind on it because it's like, yeah, you're just kind of taking the big out of the paint, and it just made it easier for the Heat to attack there.
Yeah, schematically it makes sense. Like, there is value for Kelly on this team. It's just not as a 30-plus minute guy.
Sure.
I've been on the Rudy Gay train for a while, and I still think Rudy Gay is a guy that would really, really help this team out in terms of what we want to do in the playoffs. And you saw this team kind of getting back to playoff form. They look really freaking good right now. If there's one player, like not a big name, Brian, I'll go to you on this if your Wi-Fi is working. Can you smile real quick just to make sure that you can hear
move.
Me? Okay, there we go. What's one guy that you personally would try to target to fix that 4 position right now?
Of the guys that would probably be cheap-ish to acquire, maybe a Thad Young. I think that'd be ideal. I mean, he can't. The shooting is an issue. I don't know what he's shooting this year. I'm assuming it's not good, but I think that would probably be the guy. If not Rudy Gay, but I think it's probably cost more than the Heat are willing to give, just because the Heat are hot right now, and I don't see them changing up things too dramatically. And the Spurs are a playoff team, so it's kind of hard to imagine them giving up Rudy Gay for nothing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go Thad.
So I have something to say about that. I was just looking up the numbers while you were talking there, and I was actually, kind of interested myself. The 3-point percentage has not been good this year. He's barely taken them at all. But, I mean, it's been a really big change of role for him. Like last year, he took around 3.5 threes a game and shot around, I think just now I was looking, it was around 34% from three. This year, he's been used a lot more as a short role playmaker. Like he's kind of doing more stuff with the ball in his hands. He's averaging like 4 assists, I think. And I think that has to do a lot with the role, and that would change here for sure. I think he would be taking a lot more threes if he was the starting 4 next to Bam. And I'm sure like if they were to bring him off the bench, they would use him in some of those same sets they use Bam in, because he can do some of that stuff for you at a lower level. But I think that Young offers more defensively than Rudy Gay does. But I don't think Rudy Gay is a bad defender. I think he would definitely fit the mold of what you're looking for at the 4. Honestly, I'd be good with either one of them.
Yeah, no, I would be too. Like those are the two guys that I'm really happy with at the 4. The lowest tier guy that I think I would be willing to get is a guy like Trevor Ariza, and you can unprotect the 2023 pick, send Myers and Mo Harkless there, and just trim the fat on the roster and get
we can get him on the buyout. That would be awesome.
Well, yeah, that's ideal, but I just don't know. I don't know how buyouts work, and I don't have any connections to anybody. Like I'm just sitting here on my couch watching the games, and
he's been going through custody issues for the past year from the last time I checked. So obviously, I don't know what that has to do with the buyout or not, but he has not played a minute for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He had a bad year last year. I mean, he played for 2 teams, and I don't remember who the second team was right now. I know when he played for Portland, he was kind of up and down, and then the same thing. But look, I think Ariza is another guy who fits right into that mold and who has played that role time and time again. And maybe he isn't as good as Rudy Gay at that young right now, but I think he could definitely fill those starting minutes and in a smaller role.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I like Ariza as like if we could get him off a buyout, that'd be ideal. I just wonder if that would be what he wants. A lot of question marks going into that being the option. HM with another donation. Bam switches far too willingly. Too often we have a small guard matched up on a big. Collins is my choice for a fix at the 4. Very similar to Bosch. Now, I 100% agree maybe a week and a half ago that Bam was switching too willingly, but it seems like we've cut down on the soft switches a little bit, which has been a really good aspect of why this defense has taken a step forward. But Herro, you're kind of nodding your head a little bit. What are your thoughts on that comment?
I've been screaming that like on every show, man. Like he just needs to be smarter, and the Heat as a whole need to be smarter on deciding when to switch. I try to count every game on average, like how many times I feel like Bam switches when it's unnecessary, because what it does is it obviously puts the Heat at a disadvantage. What does that say? It's Jimmy? Okay. See you soon, Alex. So I try to count like how frequently he switches out when he doesn't need to, and tonight the number was way lower. I counted like 2 times tonight. I might have missed 1 or 2. That happens, but there was like 1, I think, in the second half, if I remember right, where he switched onto like Mike Conley, I think it was, and it left Kendrick Nunn down low on. No, he switched onto Clarkson, and then it left Kendrick Nunn down low on Rudy Gobert, and Clarkson pulled up for the 3 instead of throwing it into Gobert, and so kind of bailed the Heat out. But yeah, like I do think that he's starting to be a little bit smarter on deciding when to switch, when not to switch, because again, the Heat don't have enough good defenders to where they can afford to do that. Last year when they had, a guy like Jay Crowder subbing out one, sub-average defender for a guy like Jay, who's not like an elite defender, but he's a solid defender that can
dude is strong as hell.
Strong as an ox. And so
stronger than that.
Yeah, probably. And so when
like a water buffalo. I don't even know if that's bigger. I'm just
rhinoceros, whatever. Yeah, for sure.
A dinosaur.
All right. And so, what's stronger than a dinosaur? All right, we're getting off track.
Thanos. I don't know, bro. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, and so, like, just having a guy like Jay Crowder, for example, instead of say Kelly Olynyk on the floor, offers you so much more switchability, even if 2 of your guards are suboptimal defenders. So, Yeah, I think Bam's getting better with that. I think that that's just part of the growth process. And as soon as this team trades for, acquires some kind of upgrade, either at the perimeter or at the 4 or both defensively, that won't be as much of an issue, and it'll let Bam's strengths shine even more so defensively because he'll be able to switch out and really, that's where he's at his best, is guarding on the perimeter.
Yeah, I want to see Bam switch less, but I think it's a lot of personnel-based stuff. But teams have figured that out, and you have times where you get Nunn, Herro, even Gabe Vincent tonight, who's like, I don't know if he's anywhere from 5'11 to 6'3". I have no idea how tall he is, but he was even switching on to Gobert at times, and it's just you're going to lose possessions that way because it's just such a mismatch. And I think once you get a guy there, it'll definitely help. But I do want to talk about we have a lot of dead weight on this roster still because you see how productive the group of players that are playing can be, but you have guys like Mo Harkless. Myers Leonard got hurt. We have that disabled players exception.
He was dead weight before he got hurt, though.
Exactly. Like he was. So we definitely need. I think the one thing I want to do going into trade season, Simba, I'll see if you agree with this, is pretty much just get playable guys that you can use in the playoffs. They don't have to be stars. Just get rid of some of that dead weight, similar to what we did last year, and just get playable guys in those spots so you have a deeper team. Simba, do you think that is probably the best way for us to approach this entire transaction season between trades and buyouts?
Yes and no, because when we get to the playoffs, Spoelstra only tends to play around 8 players.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at it right now, we're probably this game. What did we play? 7, 8 players. Who else would who's going to come out of this game? Who did you really not know? Maybe only KZ's probably the only person that probably shouldn't have played tonight if he wasn't necessarily needed. So we're probably 1 player too many of dead weight. But I don't think more than that. Like, to be honest, I just don't think it's more than that.
I think for the regular season, it means more just kind of having those guys that can come in. But, yeah, no, I agree with you. It doesn't have to be too much for the playoffs. Just turn Mo into something tangible to put onto the court because KZ's getting in over him. And I know a lot of people want to see KZ be great. I want to see KZ be great. I was super high on him, but he has had very, very, very spotty and streaky play, a lot of mental lapses. So
he's not there yet.
Watch out.
Brian's
going to get angry. Brian's not going to like this KZ talk.
No,
Brian's frozen. He can't say anything.
I'm looking at this as
See, I told you.
He's been bad. It's been bad.
Brian, your connection. Oh my gosh.
Brian, just turn off the
I feel like I'm keeping up with you guys.
Hey, get off the neighbor's Wi-Fi.
I feel like I can hear you guys though. Everything's
that just
happening
means
in
it's
real
definitely
time.
you.
Because our Wi-Fi is okay.
Yeah, actually,
if all three of us say that you're the problem, we're obviously not the problem.
Yeah, for real, Brian. We can hear each other. But don't worry, we are not slandering your boy KZ. We just want to see him improve. But let's talk about Precious actually, because he did not get minutes tonight.
Yeah, why do you think he got played over? Why do you think KZ got played over Precious?
Honestly, I wish I knew. I hope that's answered in a post-game question. Ariel, do you have any thoughts behind that?
I do. I don't know what the answer for it is. Like the obvious answer would be that Spo probably wants a little bit more switchability in the lineup. But even if that is the answer, like you're going up against one of the best, if not the best rebounding team in the NBA. I'm not 100% sure on where they rank. I think they're like top 1 or 2. And so like it kind of feels like not the best decision to pull one of your, I don't know if he's one of your better rebounders, but he's probably a little bit more capable than KZ is.
Easier, right?
Yeah, he's a little bigger. I mean, whatever. He's a position up. I mean, I don't feel like KZ gives you that much more defensively than Precious does because honestly, like KZ fouls like it's going like he gets paid per foul or something.
He had a really nice possession on Ingles at one point where
he does show flashes.
He got him to pick up his dribble. He traveled. They let him get away with it, and I was happy with that.
Spo probably just wanted the perimeter defense more so than he wanted the interior stuff with Precious because Precious is not a great interior defender.
Yeah.
Right? I just kind of feel like they're both a little bit too raw to be playing significant minutes right now. If you can get, like we've been saying for a while, that this team needs at least 2 more guys, right? 2 rotation level players that can play solid defense, plug some of the holes that are, on the roster right now. And I feel like, a couple of the guys, if Herro comes back, obviously Gabe Vincent probably gets dropped from the rotation. But if you trade for a couple of guys on the wing or at the 4 who can improve your interior and perimeter defense and can shoot a little bit, I don't think you're going to see much of Precious or KZ.
Yeah, Marco actually has made 2 great points in the chat in the last 2 minutes. He said Spo didn't want to play Andre with Precious anymore. Their net rating is horrible together, especially against a team with shooting like Utah. Marco, you are a smarter man than I am because I honestly did not put 2 and 2 together. So that's a really good point. And then he continued that by saying, but it's mostly a matchup thing. He wanted to bring Favors and Gobert out of the lane.
That's something you're doing more by playing Kelly Olynyk, though, right? That's why Kelly Olynyk got extended minutes as the sole big on the court.
Mm-hmm. Well, you just didn't want anybody that was a non-threat from 3, and sure. Precious at this point is that. So I guess that makes sense. That would honestly
neither is KZ, though, if we're being honest. KZ,
he's had games he's had games where he's hit a few threes
in the preseason. Because in the season he hasn't done a whole lot.
He's had threes this year. He has 5 or 6, but he's hit the 3.
Yeah.
Precious Precious is not taking them at all. Pretty much.
It just shows Precious has really been affected by not having a summer camp or playing in the G League or anything.
Not having Goran.
Well, yeah, but I feel like if he would have had a real off season, I think that Precious might be 2 times more valuable right now than he is.
I agree. Absolutely.
He definitely needs more reps. A lot like KZ and Precious both. They really could use the G League this year. Richard Cambo, thank you for the donation. Fair to say Tyler can close when we're down, but shouldn't when we're up. We've blown many leads this year when he got isolated in the PNR late. Charlotte, Washington, Clippers, even with Goran on the floor, we held on tonight. That is honestly a great point in terms of playing with a lead or playing from behind. I think more often than not in the playoffs, teams are going to try to hunt him, but they did a good job of not that often, but at least a better job of masking it when they were in the playoffs. I feel like it wasn't too much of an issue for Herro until really the Lakers series. But yeah, I mean, that's honestly a great point. Is Herro going to be one of the closers on this team?
Yes, Spo trusts him. And if you've got, again, if we're projecting post deadline, I think we all expect this team to make some sort of move. And I think that, based on the Heat's track record and how they're trending right now, the type of move that we can expect them to make is like a get better right now type of move. And so if you've got better players, better defenders, more specifically in the lineup, you can afford to play Tyler late in the 4th quarter because you have less guys on the court that teams can hunt for mismatches down the stretch. And so we've seen Spo do it, when Tyler's on the court, when he's healthy, he's usually closing games next to Bam and Jimmy and the other 2 players, whoever's hot that night. And so, yeah, it's a very good point that he raised there, but I do think Tyler probably closes more often than not when he's healthy and on the court.
Just want to say shout out all my Puerto Ricans in the chat. You guys are showing some love to Puerto Rico right now.
Shout out the Cubans too.
Shout out the Cubans too. Shout out pretty much every Caribbean country. All dope as fuck. Just had to say that. But anyways, Brian, is your internet going? Because I want to get your opinions on this game. But every time you talk, it just goes in and out.
I don't know. Is it going?
You're going right now. Okay.
Let's just get his take on every topic right now.
No. I just want to say, between Herro or Duncan, who is it that you would feel more comfortable with closing, say, in a playoff series? Because I personally don't feel like both of them should be on the court during a closing scenario. Which one do you feel more comfortable with at this point?
I'm gonna hedge a little bit. My answer is Duncan Robinson, just because I trust his defense a little bit more and I trust his shooting more than Herro. But I think the real answers probably depends on who has it going that night. If Herro is having one of his nights where he has 20 by the 4th quarter and he's just feeling hot, I think you got to go in that direction. But in general, I tend to lean more towards the 3 and occasional D that Duncan provides over Herro. Plus, I think that Herro isn't there necessarily as a ball handler, and I'd rather the ball in Jimmy or Goran's hands and Herro trying to make plays in the 4th quarter. Also, KZ the GOAT.
Any rebuttals? Herro versus Duncan as a closer?
I think it's got it. I think Ricky made a really good point in the chat, as always, Ricky. And he said that the guy that scored 37 in a playoff game needs to close. It's just, I think Tyler has the highest upside in any given night, not just long term, but on any given night. I think he offers you more upside than Duncan does. And if you're closing with Jimmy and Bam, and I guess Goran as well, when things break down, the guy who's best on the roster at attacking scramble situations, when things are kind of hectic and getting and scoring off of those types of situations is Tyler Herro. That's where he gets most of his points is off of other, when things go a little bit haywire is when Tyler kind of shines the most.
Tyler's a bucket. Like, honestly, after what he did in the playoffs last year, I don't know if I can ever doubt him as a closer. Like, he just has that clutch gene, in my opinion. And I think he can kind of make those plays down the stretch. Alex, I don't know if you're busy.
Yeah, I'm on.
Thoughts on this?
I'm sorry, what'd you say? I didn't hear the last part.
Duncan and Herro, which one do you think deserves to close?
Oh yeah. I mean, to me, honestly, my answer has been for the past years, whoever's hotter that night. But generally, I'm probably going with Tyler. I mean, the only part that makes that tough is I think Duncan's been a good deal better than him defensively. Not that Duncan is some stop or anything like that, but I'm more afraid of Tyler getting picked on and people punishing him off switches and things like that than I am with Duncan. Again, not that I want to see Duncan switching on to LeBron James or named superstar here, but I do feel a little bit better about Duncan and, the role that he plays. He's going to make it easier for Jimmy and Bam to do their thing as the superstars. I really think you could go either one of them. And now it just kind of gets tough because it's like, I think Goran is almost always going to close as long as he's healthy. I think Spo always is going to trust him. And it's for good reason, obviously. And how many of those guys are you going to have in, right? Like if you have Goran and Tyler there, I think that's kind of tough because, it's two guys who you can clearly pick on and get in switches. But I think, Goran is actually better, in that aspect than Herro too, even despite the lack of legs and lack of speed. I just think it's going to be another tough roster decision and a rotation decision for Spo as the playoffs go on. It's probably going to be a matchup based, to be honest.
Yeah, we had those same problems last year, though, and I feel like Spo did a really good job of navigating that. So whoever he puts in, I'm going to have the utmost confidence in doing so. But off the top of my head right now, I'll just say I'll take the guy who I think is a little bit more clutch in Herro. We got another dono, Cap for Life. Rob in Hollywood says, you guys either want KO or not. Very oddly similar. Wait, why are we laughing?
He's saying it's very oddly similar, like how we are with Goran. And then some of us said we would trade him for a first, and now we're saying we wouldn't.
I was about to read
Goran.
I think he's trying to say Goran there.
Also, who the hell is Rob in Hollywood?
He always does that. This commenter always does that. He'll say Rob and then in wherever he's from at that time, and I'm a big fan of that. I wish that was a format for every comment.
I'm a big fan of that.
Let us know where you're coming from. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not – if we can trade KO and get an upgrade, do it. Goran, he stays. That's where we're at, I think.
I've been off the KO train for like a year now, so.
Yeah.
Someone in the comments said, who's Goran Fiasco?
On any other night, I would say he's better than Gabe Vincent, but not tonight. Gabe Vincent, low key, a pretty solid positional defender, I have to say. I want to give his credit where it's due. He stayed with Jordan Clarkson, kind of gave him some problems early on, and I think that might have affected Clarkson a little bit, but he's a microwave.
Man, that Clarkson was chucking.
He was one of our best players tonight.
He was one of the Heat's 5 on the floor.
Joe in Rio de Janeiro says, I was on the trade Kelly since we signed him. I love this formatting, guys. I think this is something that we should keep doing moving forward, especially for those donations. It's not low-key, not bad. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what else there is to talk about. This is just the win of the season. I feel like we didn't touch enough positives on this, but
another good Kendrick game, I believe. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I look at him and like, okay, he's not – taking a shit all over himself like he was not that long ago. And he's just continuing in the right trend. Kendrick is just good as a starter, huh?
He's been strong for a few weeks now.
He ended off with 12 points, which, nothing crazy or whatever, but he was 5 for 9. And there were a couple threes that kind of helped us get back into it. I think he was super important in the middle of the game because there were times where it looked like we might be slipping or like the Jazz were coming back for us, and he kept we were trading buckets, and Kendrick Nunn's the kind of player you kind of need when that's happening.
I have a quick topic we can kind of throw out there if you guys want to hit on real quick. I looked at it today. And over the Heat's next 8 games, I tweeted this out this morning. Over the Heat's next 8 games, the cumulative winning percentage of those teams is 433. Right? They're quite a bit sub 500. And I know that historically and definitely this season, teams like that have given the Heat problems. But I kind of feel like they've turned the corner. I feel like they're playing a lot better. They're much more confident. Goran being back gives them a lot of confidence, and they
Can
really
I add
have
something to bolster your case?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Kevin Pelton of ESPN today put out there that the Heat have the easiest schedule left by BPI.
They should, because going into the season, I think it was an ESPN metric that had said that they had the hardest or second hardest strength of schedule in the first half, and so. These next 8 games, there's a real opportunity for the Heat to move.
Shout out Marco Roma, by the way, for giving me that nugget through text.
Marco's on fire tonight. He really is.
Yeah, and he also had the line of the night, in my opinion, when he was texting me. He told me that Rudy Gobert's bag is a coin purse. Thought that was great.
Dude, he has no offensive game at all.
Nothing. He just awkwardly rolls to the rim, slow as fuck. And that's about it.
He'll just hope he gets fouled from a smaller player. That's all it is.
And
Marco is spinning fire tonight. Suppose teams go crazy in March. That is a very good point. And with a lighter schedule this year.
It's not even March yet.
That's true. And with a lighter schedule this year, there's a real opportunity for them to move up. Like we were all doom and gloom a few weeks ago, but man, we could look back on this a month, 6 weeks from now. They could be like 3rd or 4th easily in the East if they beat the teams they're supposed to beat.
And I want to see them. This is the point in the season where if we have such an easy part of the schedule coming up, I don't want to see them linger and kind of stay around this 4, 5, 6 range. I want to see them separate themselves as a upper tier team in the East. I don't want it to be a question as to whether we're going to be playing at home in the first round. I just want this team to secure that relatively early on, because eventually the East is going to start to turn it on. They're playing horribly right now as a whole, but this is not going to happen the entire year. So if we can take advantage of that right now and win a lot of these next few games, I will be really, really, really happy about that.
Shout out to all the people who are following the format, including Chris at Tootsie's. Also, shout out to the commenter, Baby Shack 569. I'm sorry, I shouted out the wrong person. Somebody over here in the commenters was saying that the Heat out-rebounded the Jazz by 14, and Goran pointed out the same thing just now in his media availability, and that's kind of impressive to out-rebound the Jazz by 14 like that.
Yeah, I would say I think
two bigs
tonight was the turnovers. Other than that, I think everybody was happy pretty much the whole time, except when we saw Kelly shooting. But other than that, everybody was happy the whole time. This was an exciting game, right? It was good.
That was the best game of the season from a just aesthetic standpoint. Watching the game, that was
to be honest.
The best. Yeah, the last game and these game were absolutely the best 2 games of the season.
Hypothetically, if this were to let's say if Utah were to go on one of the craziest runs ever and we prove we're not a fluke, if this was the finals matchup, I know the NBA would hate that because Utah is probably not the best matchup for the finals perspective.
Worst ratings ever.
This would be one hell of a playoff series. And it is beautiful basketball because both of these teams are well coached, move the ball really well. I have to give credit to Utah. Utah is very fun to watch play basketball.
Yeah, it'd be the most white guys in the series in NBA history too, probably.
I love watching Donovan Mitchell, man. He is amazing.
Yeah, he is, man.
Hey, shout out to San Jose real quick.
That pull-up 3 right in front of Jimmy's face. I was like, you're a bad man.
He's a bad boy. Yeah,
Mitchell's a beast.
Yeah,
he really is.
All right, next 3 games
is going to go far.
Next 3 games, where are you guys at?
3. We got Hawks. Are both of those games at home?
Hawks at home, and then in New Orleans.
They're going to drop one of the Hawks games.
Yeah, I feel but we got a real chance to go 2-1 though.
We got a real chance to go 3-0.
Yeah, I'm saying 3-0.
Did you say the third one?
I wouldn't go. I'm a betting man, and I will not bet on a 3-0. I feel like
me neither.
One of those games against the Hawks is just going to be
Trey's going to absolutely roast the Heat's guards in one of those games, and that's probably going to end up being a loss.
Gabe Vincent's got him in shackles. High maximum security prison.
Gabe Vincent 38 minutes, 40 minutes to match up with Trey.
Gabe Vincent can guard the hell out of some skinny short dudes, man.
This is true. This is true.
If it's anybody with a little bit of muscle, switch, please.
I love how everyone in the comments is going 3-0.
Heat Nation is back. That's all I want to say.
Hockey Heat fan is back.
All over
roller
Twitter.
coaster, man.
We
We're
were
just
down
up and
bad.
down, man.
Right? Like, yo, man, if you listen, this is a movie, right?
We're
Like
16 and 17. We're talking crazy.
Yeah, the
Trade-
Hawks had a
trade
Mickey
Goran.
Mouse, like 13 wins to start the season.
Oh man,
I don't like watching Trae Young play basketball. Hot take.
I don't think that's a hot take.
I mean, I think
He
he's really
sucks on
talented,
defense.
but shit, aesthetically pleasing. I mean, it's. I don't think it is. Like, I feel like it was more last year, but now this year he's done too much of the foul hunting stuff, and it's like unnatural shit, like backing into a player looking for a foul. It's not even the usual tricks that we see, and I don't even think it's creative. Like, honestly, my take with Harden, for example, was that he was always creative in being able to kind of goad people into fouling him technically by the NBA rules, whereas Trae Young is like, to me, that back into a guy, like when he's behind you, when he's on your hip and look for that foul, like that is the lamest thing in the world. I think he's really good, and the fact that he's like the worst defender in the league.
James Harden pregame workout is reading the NBA rule book. All right, let's see. I'm gonna warm up.
Oh my God, he knows it better than the refs.
Yeah, the thing I'm excited to watch is one, Solomon Hill minutes, Heat legend. I always root for Solomon Hill. Excited to see him play or not play. I don't know what the hell his role is on the Hawks right now. But John Collins,
Future Heat
potential
legend.
hero in the future. Maybe not through
I
trade.
think we might be looking at the wrong Hawks player that's a future Heat legend.
DeAndre Hunter.
Oh, I mean,
Ooh.
It's Gallo, man.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
No,
No,
we're
but he
out
doesn't-
on that guy. We're out on that guy.
I mean, would
Yeah.
you be surprised if the Heat, like, just I'm not, look, I don't have any info, but I bet you like they will be more in on trading for Gallo, considering he doesn't have all the questions that Colin has as far as the contract and all that, and
Oh,
I bet
Has
you
he
don't have
been
to give up
horrible
as
this
much.
year?
that would kill me, dude.
No,
like,
I would still like it. I bet it would.
The only problem with Danny Gallinari is that
Collins is way
he wants
better.
to win, not money. So
Oh, Collins is better and younger, but I don't know if that. I
Right.
mean, you would probably have to give up like Duncan or something like. I don't know if the Heat are,
right
in
no,
that
you're
mindset.
right. Mhm.
But and also like he apparently wants a whole lot of money in the offseason. I don't think he's
Yeah,
a
he
nice
wants a
player.
max.
No, you're
They
right.
offered-
From a
they
cost
offered him-
perspective. Sorry,
They
go ahead,
offered him
Simba.
my bad. They offered him 90 mil for I think what was it 3 years or something like that, and he was like
He turned it
3 or
down.
4 years. 3 or 4 years. Yeah, he turned it down.
No,
nah, it was 4 for 90, I believe.
look,
What does
from a
that
co-
divide up to?
That's like 22 and a half per.
Yeah.
But from a
Herro,
co-
you're good as fuck at math.
yeah,
Low key.
fucking. But from like a cost perspective, definitely from an asset cost perspective, it would be harder to get John Collins. He would cost more, but in terms of a fit, I think he fits next to Bam much better than Gallo does. I think Gallo is just a supersized Kelly Olynyk on steroids, so you definitely get a lot more on offense, but defensively you're going to have a lot of the same problems that you have now. He's got the injury history, right? Like that dude gets hurt pretty frequently, and so
Glass.
I don't really love that. Also, the Heat went after him twice in the last 12 calendar months, and he turned them down both times essentially.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No.
Fuck him.
Well, that's because he wants to win. He's not chasing money, man. That's what he said a lot in this offseason.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, for real. No, my thing with Collins, or at least where I stand on the Collins thing, is I think I would even overpay him in free agency just because once you get him, you look at the type of asset that he is. Let's say Herro takes another step. You're looking at a realistic package for Beal if he were ever made available, or pretty much any other superstar. Collins and Herro can probably get you a lot of players around the NBA, especially with Collins having that like max-ish contract. That's one reason why I think we have a really big incentive of getting Collins. And worst case scenario, we have John Collins on our team for 4 years. So if we can get him in free agency, that would be dope. I would be a big fan of that. I don't know if we're able to trade for him. I don't think he'll get traded this year, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Want to pay the bills, Simba?
Yeah, Simba, we're about to hit an hour here. It might be
Yeah, let's pay him.
pay the bills.
All right.
Pay the bills. Go ahead, Simba. Do work.
Wait, but anybody have last thoughts before we close this out for tonight? Nothing. Nothing.
Ricky said, "Don't make that mistake. Signing trade pieces didn't work as planned in 2017." Here's the thing: you're signing a 23-year-old, like on the rise forward. I don't really think
As
it's the same
opposed to
thing as
James
2017. It's not Kelly Olynyk. It's not James Johnson. You're getting a player that you know is really, really good. And I'm saying best case scenario is if a superstar becomes available, he's a trade chip for one of those players. But worst case scenario, you're keeping a perfect fit next to Bam for 4 years, like a really, really good fit. So I'm all in on getting John Collins if we can get him in free agency. I don't think it's going to happen in trade, though. Anyway, Simba.
All right.
Marco Romo.
Always.
All right. Obviously, we're going to start it off with the main sponsors of the post-game show, Biscayne Bay Brewing. Make sure you go to biscaynebaybrewing.com, largest independent brewery here in South Florida. If you're trying to look for their beer, go onto the website. They got a beer finder page. That'll tell you where you can find it. Also, Manscaped. St. Patty's Day is for pubs, not pubes. Manscaped is a global leader.
Did you think of that, or was that sent to you?
That was sent to me by Manscaped.
No, I was about to say.
Why, you liked it?
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Honestly, keep it going.
All right. Manscaped is a global leader for below-the-waist grooming, and they sponsor this show to ensure that you have the best tools for your ball trimming experience. If you plan on getting lucky this St. Patty's Day, then you might as well use code 5RSN at manscaped.com for 20% off and free international shipping. Try out their packages. They got the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle. It includes the Weed Whacker, which is waterproof and uses 9,000 RPM motor. Man, they got a lot of info on this thing.
That's good.
360-degree rotary dual-blade system. Look, guys,
9,000 RPM.
That's impressive.
Oh, my gosh.
Look, guys, 79% of partners polled admitted that
Back in
long
the
hair
weeds.
is a major turnoff. All right, so that means you want to use some of their stuff. Their Lawnmower 3.0 is the best trimmer on the market for your balls, your butthole, and the body. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to skip some of this stuff because they have so many talking points.
We need to do a podcast one day where we just analyze Manscaped, honestly.
All right.
That's going to do numbers.
You can always get festive and safely shave a shamrock in my pubes with the Lawnmower 3.0. All right, so get 20% off plus free shipping with the code 5RSN at manscaped.com. All right. What else we got? We got Prize Picks. Use the code 5 and they will match up to $100. It's the best fantasy sports betting app out there. MyBookie.com.
.ag.
.ag. Use the code 5. They will match you 50% up to $1,000. They got some really good live betting odds. So if you're ever down, make sure you go into their live site. You can make some money. And I think that's pretty much it.
Seltzer Mayberg. Tell the people why they would have to call Seltzer Mayberg.
Seltzer Mayberg Law, right? If you get into an injury, accident, or anything, fall down the stairs, call Seltzer Mayberg Law. They are the longest and oldest sponsor of 5 Reasons Sports for a reason, because they are the best.
Did we do Miami Grill?
Miami Grill.
Shout out Miami Grill.
Well, Miami Grill, they still haven't sent their thing. So, check out Miami Grill. All right, they're the best Florida food chain out there. All right, they got better fries than Burger King. All right,
Open late.
Yeah, and they're open late.
They got
a fire gyro. If you've ever eaten their gyro, it's one of the best freaking meals that they have available. Their meatball sub is pretty good. Chase Signs and Graphics, check them out. Best ever BST EVR. Check those people out. We got more coming. Check them all out.
Yeah, Simba. Bills are paid. Oh my God, I malfunctioned. Win of the season. One word from everybody. Thoughts on tonight?
Dragon.
I'm stumped.
That's 2 words.
Brian, come save him.
KZ.
It's also 2 words.
Really? KZ?
That's my guy.
48 minutes
That's
of
my
basketball
guy.
the entire year.
Okay,
You say
okay.
KZ?
All right, Jimmy. I'll say Jimmy, but KZ's
Thank
my
you.
guy.
I got 3 words. Big Face Coffee.
It was like 7 words.
Big Face Coffee is 3.
He said I got
Coffee is for
3
closers.
Copies for closers. My last remarks. Technically, it's 1 word. All-star.
2 of them.
Thanks for watching.